Good morning, good morning, good morning, or whatever time of day you happen to be watching this. Great to be back in the studio. I hope everybody had a wonderful 4th of July. We had a great time. Took a week off with the show, and took a week off with the show. Went and hung out with my buddy. Just bought a brand new house, and we got to go hang out with him. We got to see an unbelievable off the back dock fireworks display. That was really, really fun. So it's just great celebrating this unbelievably amazing country that's been able to withstand so many things over the last 250 years. I'm so proud to be an American. I'm so grateful to have been born inside our borders. I know a lot of people, I know a lot of you are as well. And those of you that are watching from outside the country, we love our country. You love your country. I'm sure you do. but at the end of the day, it was fun getting to celebrate the birthday of our great nation and to be able to celebrate it with good friends and having a good time and watching everybody, kind of come together around the idea. Those of you that are new to the show, welcome. I'm Jason Cisneros. Welcome to the Built to Exit podcast. We do this every single weekend, every single Saturday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Welcome to my early risers on the West Coast, and to you crazy people. I just saw Australia come in here. What's up, brother Dean? So, welcome to the show. A little bit about us, a little bit about the show, a little bit about what we do here. If this is your first time, somebody's been bugging you to, hey, you gotta go check out this show by this bald-headed guy. He's a little bit crazy, but you might learn something. This show is for anyone who is thinking about building a business, has a business, thinking about selling their business. It's really a business show for business people, business-minded folks, right? I hearken back to everybody. You track your DNA line back to who you identify with the most. As I realized that, being touched, we'll put it that way, being touched with the entrepreneurial bug, being touched with the entrepreneurial, the business owner bug is very, very, very unique. Okay, it's very unique. And just evidenced by that, we're less than 10% of the world. Less than 10% of the world is producing 60 to 70% of the output of what's going on. The rest are, we talk about ethical capitalism and unethical capitalism. And really, I believe that small and mid-sized companies at 0 employees to 499, 500 and above obviously become large corporations. But my family, we've done some work in those bigger organizations. But my real passion, my real family, where I bought my own freedom was in small and mid-sized companies. I built a number of them. I exited a number of them back in 2019. Thought that I was going to go full-time into philanthropy. Spent the last 10 years or so doing rescues of children in the sex trade. I've rescued with 10 or 11 teams. Found a home with CERT Ministries out of California. We do work in domestic violence, so that kind of stuff. I thought I was going to be going down that path, but a new passion was awakened in me and my team back in 2020 when we got called non-essential. And that pissed me off a little bit. Those of you that know me, you'll get to know me. I don't like bullies. I felt like our family was getting bullied because we got told to shut down by a bunch of people who have absolutely no idea how important. Evidently, maybe they did know how important we were, but evidently they didn't know or they didn't care. And both of those are inexcusable to me, that we do 60 to 70% of the GDP, right? Here in the United States, that's approximately 17-ish trillion dollars. That's bigger than any other industry, any other big business. It's bigger than most of the world's economies. And to get told that we're non-essential, to shut down. I had a few friends of mine that committed suicide during that period of time. and it really, really upset me to a point where it drew me back in. Kind of, when if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans, right? My plan was, I thought we were going to go do rescues and philanthropy and do that the rest of my life. But this drew me back in to the idea that I have an ability. I don't think a lot of, not everybody has it. My mentors that I've been able to study under, they had the ability to not only, it's a combination you should look out for. The ability to be able to do what you are teaching about, and then the ability to teach it so that people can pick it up and go do it. Well, I found that is one of my passions. It was an unexpected thing, but I love teaching. I love giving away a ton of really valuable information so that my small and medium-sized business brothers and sisters can thrive in a world that really, really does and is set up to take advantage of producers. Okay. And that's what the show is about, right? We did a show. My first podcast I ever did was called The Bald Avenger Show. And it was all around bringing the awareness to child trafficking. And it turned into a pretty cool show. And then we switched over into, another podcast. And now this one, which is really fun. It's been it's been really amazing because it's honed in my people, right? This show may not be for everybody. My advice may not be for everybody because there's a lot of people that are out there. Think about this. 95% of companies that start don't see their 10th birthday. That means that 95% of them go out of business. Go out of business means bankruptcy. It means a lot of things. They're losing their homes. They've lost their family's money. They've lost investor money. They've given it their best shot. Now they failed. The world of small and mid-sized business owners, one thing that the government did, and I don't give the government a lot of credit for a lot of things, but one thing that they did was they figured out that if you have this bug, if you have this DNA defect called being a business owner, if you have it, they realized somewhere along the way that that's all the production, right? That's where the tax money comes from. That's where innovation comes from. That's where, the innovations in military ability comes from, where travel and technology and entertainment and like this, everything spawns from a small and mid-sized business owner, right? Everything spawns from that DNA quirk called being a merchant, right? Harken back to the old days, right? That's where I believe we are descendants of other merchants, and we've improved the world, demonstrably improved the world, right? And it's been a business every single time. So as we look at that and we see that and I saw what was going on, I decided to just go back in and be sort of hardcore. My wife and I buy and sell companies all the time. We're in several different verticals at any one time. We're in the game. I have the ability to teach. I've learned a lot of shit by failing. I bankrupted, just full disclosure, because a lot of people, I think, that do these kinds of talks and shows and things like that, they want to act like they're the golden child and everything that they touch turns to gold. That's not the way it is in real life, right? You're going to fail far more times than you're going to succeed. But the idea is to have the blueprint of again, way back. You're going to see I have a penchant for going back in history and looking at deals as far back as 1,000 years, right? And looking at those deals and trying to pull out like what happened in those deals so that I can apply it to real world scenarios. As I said, my wife and I, and I've got business partners. We have business partners. We're in business right now. So we're facing the same things you are. We're facing what's going to happen with AI. We're facing what's going to happen with tariffs. We're facing what's going on with the tax code. We're going on what's happening with Democrats, Republicans, who are going to be in office. All of the same things. And and the private equity world and what's happening, because we are building assets and machines that we are looking to sell to other people. So learning that, understanding that, this is what the show is about. This is really what the brand. We started as Anton J, still have Anton J, but this is a branch of it called Built to Exit. And it's the culmination of everything that I've learned, everything that my team has learned, everything that my wife has learned in building her very successful businesses, and melding it into a blueprint and a map for other business owners who come to the conclusion, look, here's what separates the 95% of the people who will fail in business and the 5% that will go on to stay in business and then ultimately sell to someone else, right? Think about this. And we say sell to somebody else because at the end of the day, our tagline at Built to Exit, one of the things I realized long ago was everybody exits. How matters. Let that sink in for just a second. I don't care. Look, none of us are getting out of this thing alive, as they like to say. So that means that our business is going to transfer ownership. It's going to transfer to someone else at some point in time. Either that's involuntary, which is the failure, dictated, which means you are going to allow the other side of the table to negotiate. Sometimes that is bankruptcy. Sometimes that is succession. Sometimes that, or your kids are going to fight over it when you're gone because you didn't do your job as a leader to polish something up to pass it on, not being a mess. Or you go the custom tailored route. Took me 4 or 5 massive failures to understand, there's people who buy businesses. There's people who buy businesses day in and day out. They're really, really good at it. Private equity firms are kind of like the top 500 to 800, okay? There's a lot of private equity firms right now that should not be calling themselves private equity firms. But the top ones are really good at what they do. And so it dawned on me, a little bit of a thick skull, model what they do, right? Model what they do and formulate my companies that a lot of people attach their identity to. Nope, it's a machine that creates cash that I need to be building for somebody. If everybody exits how matters, I need to build it into a machine that somebody else is going to acquire so that they can keep that cash flow going on for themselves. That's it. It's not daddy issue. It's not a place for you to solve daddy issues, mommy issues, childhood trauma, prejudices or all of those things. It's not a place for that. It's a place for you to be professional and for you to be calculated and ice cold in your direction. Outside of that money that it creates is then able to be applied, like my wife and I have done, it back into the things that we care about. Those things that make our heart beat faster, that make our blood flow, that makes us want to get up and go to work and put in the hard work and deal with the shit that it takes to be somebody called a merchant, to be somebody that's called a business owner. It's not for the faint of heart, right? It is one of the most difficult things that you can possibly decide to do, which is called owning your own business. But to us who have that DNA quirk, right, called being a merchant, to us, there's no other option. Everybody that we've ever worked for is really stupid and we can't work for them, or they're really lazy and we can't work for them, or whatever it is, or we just have that rebellious spirit where I got to do my own thing, even if it drives me into the poorhouse and I end up on in a box on the street. We can't not be entrepreneurs, right? In the words of Mark Andreessen, he says, if you have it, there's no way you can avoid it. So that's us. And I feel like if that's you, then that's why we've combined. That's why somebody suggested the show. That's why you are with me today. So anyway, getting to the wrap up of that sort of thing, I just want you to know, if you're new, I just got to let you know kind of who you were dealing with and what sort of world you find yourself in here. We talk about the things that we do on a day-to-day basis. We talk about the things that are necessary that we're finding. All day long, every single day of the week, I am dealing with business owners and the issues that they are facing. I've been doing this for, I'm 53, I'm about to be 54 years old. I've been doing this for damn near 30 years and solving these problems to the point where I'm speaking to, and this is the last thing before we get into some of the content today that I want you to be very, very clear about. Most of you, we do have a business that we're a consulting firm, and a brokerage that we help people that want to sell their companies eventually, and we help them for the 18 months or 3 years or however long it is that they need to polish that thing up. It's called Built to Exit, right? Built to Exit is the name of the company. We do have programs. We have digital programs. We have certified strategists who we've trained in our methodology. We have where you can work with us. If you have a bigger company, it's more complex. We have an unbelievable team that's been doing this for almost 20 years now, and myself who's been doing it for 30 years. I did it for myself first. I didn't do it to be a guru. But we have those solutions for you, and that do cost money and that we do promote and that we do have a business behind. But here's the truth, and this will help you relax just a little bit. Most of you are not my client. Most of you are people that are looking for those nuggets to be able to stick to the idea that you're going to own your business forever. You don't come to the conclusion that a business is built to exit, right? You don't come to the conclusion that everybody exits how matters. You don't come to that, and that's okay. That's okay. That was me for a long time. A business doesn't, a business, as long as it's feeding your family and it's meeting those needs and all those kind of things, some people never come to the realization that they need to be building their business for the next owner, right? Those of you that realize that, there's a period of time that it's too late. It's too late when you have a major health issue. It's too late when you go through a divorce. It's too late when you have problems with your partner. It's too late when there's a massive issue in the economy. It's too late when you've run out of cash and you're trying to get rid of the albatross around your neck. You got to start now. And those of you that want to start now, there's a library, on YouTube of all of the videos of training and things that you need to learn. Today, we're going to talk about valuation because it happens to be one of the starting points, right? But there's lots of other subjects that you can learn about that you don't have to pay us a dime, right? You don't have to hire us for anything. The people that need us know they need us. So we're here, right? And so that should help you relax and get into a place of, all right, let me just absorb the information and put it out there. I just want to take a minute. I see some unbelievable people out in the audience. Christopher, Ruben, Dean, my brother, all the way from Australia. Greg Walker, you are amazing. Christopher and Marianne, it's good to see you. Jonte Hall. Jonte, I got to come to one of your games, buddy. Everybody look him up. He's an amazing guy. But just want to say hello to all of those of you that have been with me for a very, very long time. I know you've probably heard a version of that intro every single time we do a show. But remember, we got to build this family of people who come to this realization, and we got to let them know right up front who we are. Okay, we're not somebody who's going to take excuses. We are not get rich quick schemes. This is not financial advice. I am not an attorney. All of those things that we got to get out of the way. But I am a person who is doing what I'm telling you that you should look at and modify and search and dig into. Right? We have a certain amount of time every Saturday. We're going to talk about valuation. We've got 7 strategies here, but the truth is there's like 40 different strategies on valuation that you can that will matter to you, right? We did a series called The Gauntlet, and it's 52. Think about this for a second, right? You're watching one episode. We put out one episode per week here with the Built to Exit. 52 episodes of what we call the Gauntlet, which is pre-due diligence prep. 52. So you can imagine that when you get ready to sell this thing and when you get ready to exit your business or succeed, or you want to sell it to your employees, or you want to pass it over to your children, or whatever it is that you do, that's 52. That's 52. And I know what the hell I'm doing. I've been doing this for a lot of years. So anybody that tells you there's 3 steps for you to put your business together, you could come to a seminar for 1 weekend at our building that says we sell shit and go to that and go, on a weekend, you're going to be able to buy companies and then run them successfully. Bullshit. 52. This is 52. We've got the basics, right? The what we call the foundation, the built to exit system. That's 28 hours. And then you get into pre-due diligence, which is 52 videos. I'm not sure of the hours just yet, but that's 52 training sessions on how to get your business spot just polished so that you're in control of three things. Three things: timing, right? The timing. So the price, number one, the price of your business. You want to be in control of that. The timing, so you don't get strung out. The longer that it takes to close a deal on your business, the less your business is going to make, the less you're going to get paid, and probably the less likely that it's ever going to sell. Less than 7% of businesses ever sell. And of those 7% of companies that do sell, 50% of them fall apart post-close. Okay? Post-close. That means that there's a hell of a lot of ego. There's a hell of a lot of incompetence. There's a lot of lies being told by brokers, by consultants, by owners lying to themselves, and lies from the buyers of those companies. There's a lot of misconceptions. There's a lot of mistruths. There's a lot of that going on. So if you want to be one of those that actually has that transaction that goes through, that at the top level, and you're controlling the price, the timing, and the terms. Terms are super important, right? Not going to get into it here, but the terms are everything. Oh, I sold my company for $10 million. We are unwinding and putting back together right now as we speak a business that sold for $9 million, okay? $9 million. The people that bought it put out about $600,000 and then took control of that business, sold all the assets, and they're now in bankruptcy, and the owners have to take that back over if they want to, right? If they want to rebuild what took them 20 years to build, they're going to have put it back together and refi, and all they got out of it was $600,000, okay? That's what happens. That's what happens. And it's complete and total bullshit that you can go for a weekend and you can learn how to buy and you can learn how to sell and you can learn how to prep your business up. Stop beating up. If you find somebody, because we're not the only ones that know what we're doing, right? We're the best looking, right? Best crew, like best everything, because that's my brand. But we're not the only ones, right? There's a way, just a little due diligence, and I'm going to jump into the content, I promise, right? Little due diligence. Anybody that is doing, make sure that they have done a deal before. Okay. Anybody that talks to you about selling. I have friends of mine that are close to mine that I have put $10+ million in their pocket, who got talked to by somebody else that said, oh, this other person's going to come in and help us for a smaller percentage to help sell the business, right? People that know that we put tens of millions of dollars in their pocket got sold by somebody that was going, oh, we're going to go do a brokerage thing with somebody else because they're 2 points or 3 points cheaper than we are. We're not cheap. We're the best, right? And then go through that process and call me a year later when their business valuation has been chopped in half, right? Make good decisions. Do your due diligence. Just because somebody is cheaper, just because somebody has offered you money for your business, don't let your emotions high, as Keith Cunningham, my mentor of almost 15 years now, right, says emotions high, intellect low. That means when your emotions are high, you're gonna make stupid ass decisions. When your intellect is high, your emotions are low, and you're gonna make better decisions. All right. I love this stuff. I could go on for days and days and days, and I do. I talk about it all day, every day, 7 days a week, but I love what I do, and I hope you love what you do as well. Let's get into the content. All right, valuation. Remember, keep in mind, these are 7 that I picked, but there's multiple. And as we go through them, we're not gonna be able to go into the intricacies of it, but what these shows do for you is they give you ways of thinking. They give you markers, right? You can come back, you can watch the show and dive in a little bit deeper. Here's one of the things that is going to make you different in this world is you're going to partner up with AI. Right? AI is here to stay. AI is a tool, or so you're going to partner up with AI, and you're going to be able to learn things at an accelerated rate. But remember, This is a knowledge play. AI is a knowledge play. It is not an execution play. That's paired with robots, and then we have a whole other issue to deal with. We're in robotics. We're in high tech, high performance compute. This afternoon, I've got a guest coming on my podcast that we'll produce and put out later. But one of the top companies in HPC, right? That is, no, those of you who don't know what HPC is, it's the thing that AI is able to operate on. It's when people talk about the cloud, what is it? It's just a server, okay? These are advanced. HPC is advanced servers so that you can get more volume and faster speed on what's going on in AI. But when you partner with AI, now you become excellent, right? You become even better because you've paired with the tool. Most people, and you can do that, you can look at it, they've already come out with some research, AI is making people dumber, right? Because it's making people lazy. When you partner up with AI and you keep your intellect sharp and you're making better decisions, that means that you're asking better questions. AI is going to be simply utilized by the people that can ask better questions. So what we do here on this show is we give you better questions to ask, right? I think they're calling them prompts, but it's just questions, right? Or commands. And commands could be talked about in business terms of SOPs. Long story, we did a couple of shows on that. We'll do some more. I'm going to be diving into it with Justin, the guy that in the tech world, who basically built all of the back end for Walmart, et cetera, et cetera. It's going to be a great show. You're going to want to watch it. It's not going to be in this format, but it'll be promoted on Built to Exit and also the jasoncisneros.com, builttoexit.biz if you want to visit us and get that content. So this show will we're going to talk about 7 strategies. We're going to speed it up just a little bit because we're already about half an hour in. And but you could take these strategies and you can do your own deep dive, right? You can take the subject, you can throw it into ChatGPT, you can Google it, you can find some research so that you get better educated. Everything that we do at Built to Exit is sell side advocacy. Okay, sell side advocacy is very rare, right? Sell side advocacy means that we are standing behind the business owner themselves. The business owner in most of the world, that everybody that surrounds them has their hand in their pocket taking from them. That is the typical scenario. That is buy side or self side advocacy around them. There's very, very little sell side advocacy, but I hate bullies and I love, protecting people that don't necessarily know what they're doing. I just want to, because this is where I lose a couple of people. They're like, I know what I do. I've been changing tires for 30 years, youngster. I've been, hammering nails and drywall for 30 years. I know my business. What are you going to do? Come in here and tell me. What are you going to do? Come in here and tell me some stuff, right? That's not what I'm talking about. If you wouldn't be watching the show, number one, there's one thing about being excellent at what you do. Because if you're not great at hammering nails, if you're not great at drywall, if you're not good at changing tires, if you're not good at painting, if you're not good at roofing, if you're not good at those things, we got nothing to talk about because you got to keep hustling to get new customers who don't know how terrible your business is. Who I'm talking to is people that I know are the best at what they do in their particular industry. What you're not good at, because why would you, right? You're building a business that is meant to be excellent in the marketplace and to ease suffering for your particular customer, okay? That's why you're in business. There's this second side over here that when you wake up and you go, okay, I actually need to build this for 2 audiences. Number 1, for the customers who are going to use us. Number 2, for the person who's going to buy my business afterwards, okay? And so when you start to go down that path of education, you're going to want to know everything that I know. And so when you get in here, you start looking at these strategies, evaluation, the first thing that'll happen when you go to get evaluation of your business, you're going to realize that shit is not cheap. Okay. $15,000 on the low end, upwards to $100,000, depending on how big or confusing or good of a salesperson you run into, okay? But I would say that you average roughly roughly about $25,000 to get a true valuation on your business. Okay. And when you go into that valuation, you want to be able to go in, and if you're going to pay that kind of money, you're going to want to be able to have an intellectual conversation. Everything that we do at Built to Exit is to put you on the other side, is to educate you with your machine that you built that creates cash and is solving problems for business owners. It's to educate you on the other side of the equation, which is getting it ready for whoever's going to own it next, whether that's your employees through an ESOP, whether that's passing it on to your kids, or whether that's just an outright sale, to a private equity firm, for instance. Okay, dig in, right? Ask better questions, ask more, because I'm going to skim through these. But there's 7 strategies that I have dealt with personally of how to value a business. Okay, so let's get into it. First and foremost, you've got to know your end game. What are you doing with your business? Okay, what do you want to do? At the end of it, do you want to have a $30 million check scratched for you and you walk away? Obviously pass over, you can pass it on, hand off 30 days, et cetera, or 30 days or 3 months or 6 months or a year or whatever it is, right? But you want to get that check, or do you want to have somebody come in, you partner with them, and you're building a bigger thing? That would be called a roll-up, right? Do you want to just get it ready? Again, I don't want to go through all of the different scenarios because this is about valuation, but your valuation and which strategy you're going to use with your team or you yourself is going to be determined based on your end game. What you want, how you're going to sell, when you're going to sell, what circumstance you find yourself in. So we're going to go through 7 of them that I think are the most, the most used or utilized, or the ones that I'm most familiar with. And then I'm going to give you some stories from history to give you an idea, and you can dive in. Like these stories that I tell you, they're such good education pieces so that you can see what I'm talking about. The example, when I tell you, for instance, comparable companies analysis, right? CCA as your very first valuation. When I tell you that, you go through and you'll do some Googling or ChatGPTing, and you'll be like, hey, educate me on this particular thing. Or this is just it in the show. What I'm going to give you will be enough for you to be way more educated than your peers. But if you want to dive in and find out about this stuff, go in, put this subject letter in, and then I'm going to give you an example from history from a company that is prevalent. So you can see it in real life. So you can see that exercise that's used in real life throughout history. Very, very helpful. Okay. So CCA, right? Use financial multiples from similar public companies. This is one of the valuation. By the way, as we get into valuations, when we talk about controlling price, timing, and terms, this is typical valuation. When you start the conversation, you want to control, as the business owner, you want to control the valuation conversation. You don't want somebody coming in because there's strategies, right? Think about it. If you're selling your car, you want to sell it for $20,000 and the buyer wants to buy it for $10,000. It's a very simple concept. So you want to be in control of the valuation conversation, or else somebody else will be. Use financial multiples from similar public companies. You can find deals. Public companies are great because you can go into their books. You can look into their deals. Every single public company, it's called public for a reason, because all of their books, all of their research, they have to put out letters to the investors. It's as transparent of being able to look into a business's inner workings as you're going to be able to find, right? Then you adjust that for growth of your own business. You'll put in your factors, your size and your quirks, the different things about your business, and find real comps to avoid industry hype. Okay. This is a big deal. This concept of industry hype. There's a hype on your side that you want to hype it up to a better multiple, to a higher number. In the right now, what's going on in the private equity world, it's unbelievably hyped. Okay. There's $3 trillion sitting on the sideline from investors wanting money to go into investable small and mid-sized companies. That's a lot of money. And the reason is because the original, and not just the original, but well-run private equity firms have done a great job at buying companies and enhancing their value. Now with $3 trillion sitting around, it's just like any other gold rush where people are coming in and going, oh, boom, I'm a private equity firm. Boom, I'm a business broker. Boom, I'm a consultant. All of these things. So you got to vet the quality. You got to vet the quality so that you know the people that you're talking to. There's a big gold rush in this space. And now, it went from 2,000 or 3,000 private equity firms, of which only 800 were really good, to now over 7,000 private equity firms. It is insane out there. So yes, there's a lot of talk. Yes, there's a lot of wasted time. Yes, there's a lot of, but for the most part, there's no more deals getting done. It hasn't increased the pricing on any of the deals. What is increasing pricing is somebody who takes their time and preps it up for a real private equity firm. The base business is still existent and will always be existent because there's always going to be somebody who wants to buy a predictable stream of revenue that has predictable growth into the future. There's always going to be somebody. But most of the destruction is happening because you have people who went to a weekend of how to buy a business, selling to somebody who went to a weekend or read a book on how to sell, and they're falling apart, or the deal does happen and the original asset is just falling apart. So valuation here, right? Fine, because what you want to do, let me give you the example. South Sea. This is a fascinating deal to go back and look at. 1720. Oh my gosh, Jason, is 1720. It doesn't have anything to do with today. We got AI. We have all these. Yeah. Guess what? You're going to learn the most by history. You're going to learn the most by history. So they overhyped using East India Company multiples and what? And just go. It's a fascinating read. So go into it. The shares exploded, right? There's companies. Think Enron, right? Think Nvidia right now, right? A lot of people disagree with me, but when you dig in and you look at what's going on, the fundamentals, right? You look at the books. You don't just take what everybody says out in the marketplace, and you look at the fundamentals and the numbers. Maybe Nvidia is one of those. Maybe they're not. But and again, don't take investing advice, financial advice, or legal advice from me. Never. Okay. But think about that and shares and write what I wanted to do with this example. It's funny that Isaac Newton lost his fortune because of chasing the hype. There was a deal that was done. Everybody was like, oh, you put your money in here, you're going to get rich for free. You're going to get rich. There's no risk, all these other kind of things. Think about those terms. But the biggest issue right now is everybody is telling you the hype that's in the marketplace is private equity will buy any company, which to a certain degree, that's true, right? In whatever shape it might be in, to a certain degree, that might be true. I want to come back to truth. Less than 7% of companies ever sell. 50% of them, it's a higher number, but I say 50% because I can't believe that after they sign the deal and the first money that these things fall apart. Over 50% of those fall apart. Why? Because of the hype. Business owners, the people you talk to, think they're smarter than they are, right? It's like, it's the example of a doctor, right? Who knows how to save a life, could crack open, a heart, do heart surgery, do that kind of stuff, but they don't necessarily know how to run a business. We've helped a lot of doctors, throughout my career. We've helped a lot. So it's the same thing with a business owner. Just because you're good at your business doesn't mean that you have any idea how to sell your company or how to deal with buyers of your company. But so we have a lot of arrogance and ignorance happening on the sell side. And then you have on the buy side, you have a lot of ignorance and arrogance happening as well. That is an overhyped situation. Okay. So if you value your business through this CCA, it gives you a way to have a conversation and to look at your business through a lens of intellect and not emotion. Second one is precedent transactions, very similar to CCA, but this one is where you go in and you dig into recent M&A deals in your industry, right? In your very specific industry. And you adjust that for timing, size, control, premiums. Again, look these up. DeLorean was a really, really great example of this type, okay? DeLorean's assets, again, fascinating business case. DeLorean's assets were benchmarked using prior auto bankruptcies, and buyers scooped up the tech trademark for pennies. Valuation nosedived because they ignored earlier precedent warnings. Okay, there was a lot of precedents to say that DeLorean was not worth what everybody was saying that it was worth. Okay, discounted cash flow. Again, in terms of timing, I want you to look these up, do some research, see how they may or may not apply in your world. This one I want to get to specifically. I put some notes over here to the side so we can dive a little bit further into it on the discounted cash flow. Project future cash flows and discount back. Forward looking, but it's really, really fragile if it's wrong. Okay, dream big, but ground your numbers. And the example that we have for this one is Pony Express in 1860. They projected huge cash flows from speed and contracts. They got crushed, right? This is the problem with projecting out too far because we don't know, right? We just don't know. Imagine if you had a business in the virtual assistant world, and AI comes along. What happens, right? No more business or very little business, or you have to adjust that business. Whatever it is, it's a surprise, and it's definitely going to interrupt your cash flow. It's definitely going to interrupt your future earnings, okay? So you got to know about these things. It was a bold vision, does not replace grounded forecasting, okay? There was no real government contract. The company on Pony Express, they never secured the exclusive mail contract that they hoped for. There's so much hope, right? Hope is not an effective strategy. There's so much hope that I see business owners trying to apply to their business. Hope is not an effective strategy. It cannot tell you enough. And if you don't know how to put solid numbers behind this, find professionals that can help you, right? Find professionals that can help you. I've got a really great offer for some of you that are in business on this valuation thing here at the end of the presentation. But that contract didn't exist. Think about all the businesses that go, oh, of course we have that. Of course we have that. Of course we have that. And those contracts, they're with companies that can't afford to buy it. You know, maybe they put out what's called they're taking receivable orders on NVIDIA, right? NVIDIA is putting out, somebody's placing orders for the product that's a company that's set up, they didn't do much vetting on, don't really have the financial backing to be able to support that receivable that NVIDIA just gave them. Therefore, where is that money going to come from? Therefore, is it ever going to come to fruition, or is it just a receivable that somebody says we made $10 million in sales, but that $10 million was a promissory note in the form of a receivable that company doesn't have that money. Therefore, will that $10 million ever come in? Welcome to Business 101. We don't know, right? But maybe it will. And that is, if you're buying or investing in somebody like NVIDIA, you have to take those into account. Will we be able to collect that money? Will we not be able to collect that money? Is this a farce? Are they trying to pump up the buff? Or is this a real thing? And then I'm going to make a bunch of money because I stuck with it. These are all questions that you should be training yourself to ask yourself, okay? Their estimated costs, low volume, estimated cost to operate was $5,000 a month. The mail revenue couldn't cover the cost. It was too little volume, too high overhead, right? These are the deals. The death knell, just 18 months after launch, the Transcontinental Telegraph was completed. Okay, now it's instant communication through the telegraph instead of the mail. The company went bankrupt, losing an estimated 200,000. This is way back in the 1800s, right? 200,000, which is 200,000 back then would be $7 million today. Stations sold off, repurposed for other mail or military uses. So that was a fascinating one, worth your time. Okay, I'm going to buzz through the rest of these, so not spend a bunch of time on them. But adjusted book value, update your balance sheets to current market values. It's great for asset-heavy businesses. And this is something that we find a lot when we're doing exit prep, when we're doing foundation work, when we're doing optimization work, when we're doing assessment work, is that so many businesses have assets that they solved the problem with in their business for themselves, and it solved that problem, but it didn't, in their mind, it didn't snap and go, oh, that's an asset that, is kind of a special thing in this industry that nobody else thought of, that can become an IP asset, et cetera, et cetera. So don't overlook your hidden assets. Make sure you're dealing with professionals that can pull that out. Great story on that is the New Bedford whaling fleets. Dig into it, spend some time. Again, a story from the 1800s. Liquidation value. Sell all of your assets fast. This is usually, when you're in a little bit of trouble, right? You got to pay off your liabilities. It's used in distressed or exit now scenarios. This is, again, it is a valuation that you want to be ready to face that future. If you want to value your business, you go, okay, well, if I had to close today, right? And I looked at my assets and I go, well, my van is worth $100,000. But if I had to sell it tomorrow, I might get 20 grand out of it because I had to do a fire sale. Liquidation, you want to have that number around. You want to hope you never, ever have to execute on that valuation. Great story, Tucker Car Company. Look into it. Back in 1948. Replacement cost method. Cost of replacing assets with new ones today. If somebody's going to come in your business and they look at all of your assets and they go, okay, well, if I had to replace all of this stuff today, now what they've got to do is they've got to add that into the valuation for a purchase. It's used for unique operations or a crisis reset. Okay, story there, unbelievable story. I wish we had more time to go into this, but I'm telling you these things so that you can do a little bit of research on your time. Spending time doing this is way more valuable to you than scrolling on Instagram, where there's a bunch of fake gurus and a bunch of fake cars and fake jets. It's not what you want anyway, I don't think. For most of you, what you want is your freedom. You want your time back. You want a paid off house. You want to be able to go, live to 120 and not worry about money and take care of your family. Great story though. Go into it. Leverage buyouts. This is good. Buy with debt, improve the operations, and sell high. Leverage buyouts are something that we like, that we're really, really good at, because the high risk is, do you know how to improve? Do you know how to improve the valuation of a business? This is where, again, the good private equity firms, this is where they're excellent. They know what they're doing. They know how to take a company that you've done the best you can with and improve it by economies of scale, strategies, sales techniques, marketing, different things that they can improve the value. It's high risk to people who don't know what they're doing. This is where we play, my wife and I play, because we know how to improve companies really, really well. Use this model to stress test your worth. Okay, great story, Revco, loaded with debt and a buyout, and the recession crushed the projections. This is the high risk part of it, right? This is the high risk part of it. Is recession crushed the projections. Something happened outside of our control, their control. Company hit bankruptcy in 1988. It was the first major leverage buyout failure, but also a wake-up call for smarter structuring and exiting at a premium. Lessons there. Not every business is leverage buyout material. Again, that's how good are you at your strategies? How good are you at your due diligence? How good is your team at fixing these things? Debt amplifies risk really fast. LBOs magnify both success and failure. If you do a good job with it, you know what you're doing, you look like a genius, okay? I only learned how to be a genius in this particular area, by the way, by bankrupting several my own companies when I was younger, okay? That's where I learned how to do this really, really well. Financial engineering is not business execution, okay? Think about that for a second. Just because you close a deal, remember, 7% sell, 50% of those fall apart. Financial engineering, making it look good on paper, does not equal the skill sets of business execution to make a leverage buyout work. That's why what we teach is we teach the fundamentals first. We talk about business execution first, because we have to take a cash flowing business and build what's called enterprise value. Most businesses don't have much enterprise value. That's why the valuations that they get done, you think your business is worth 10 million, they come back and tell you it's worth 2. It's because you haven't built up the enterprise value of your business, right? Resale value is not guaranteed. The plan to flip Revco died really quickly when operational failures became public and buyers backed away. Okay, so which one are you using? Every strategy is a tool in your M&A belt. The people that we work with that hire us, we do scenario training and scenario training and scenario training, because the optimized sale of a business really comes down to, there's techniques, don't get me wrong, and it's 20% of the deal, but 80% of deals fall apart because the ignorance and arrogance on either side of the buy. You want to have two people that are smart, intellectual, in control of their emotions, that are looking to make a real deal on both sides of the table. That's how a deal sticks. Most people on the sell side wildly fail that because they're not educated. It's not necessarily because they're dumb people. It's just that it's a different skill set than putting roofing on a house or, doing HVAC, or it's just a different skill set. So you either want to educate yourself or have a team around you that knows these skill sets so that you do the best job that you possibly can. Okay. So, how do we want to wrap this up? Here's what I'm going to do. We've got, we have a free assessment right now. As of August 1st, that's going to cost you some money, not much, but it'll be, $49.99, whatever it is, the free assessment at built-to-exit.biz. Make sure you go there, take advantage of that. Before we started this podcast and before we put it up on built-to-exit.biz, the only people that got that assessment were people that signed on with us for $50,000 and then an upside of 1.2 million. So it's been it's a very valuable tool, and we've had it up for free for several months now while we were finishing out all the branding and all that. But as of August 1st, my team is putting it behind a paywall, and it'll cost you something. Okay. You can DM us on Twitter, which is at the J Cisneros for private consulting. If you need my team, if you need something from us, do that. Also, for those of you that are watching, we go over there right after we close up here, about 5 minutes after we shut off and we say goodbye. We go over to Twitter on at the J Cisneros. We open up a room and we all get together. Sometimes it's 10 people, sometimes it's 200 people, but we ask questions of, if you want to have deeper answers on the valuation, if you want to ask about your credit. We have a lot of people that have been in our community for a long time. They talk about their wins. They talk about, hey, what do I do next? Very, very, very valuable group of people to know, because they are business owners just like you. And we've had several of them partner up. It's a great community. So we suggest you go over to at the J Cisneros on X right after this show. And join us for some really, really great conversations. The other thing that I'm going to offer is, if you have a $3 million business, a business that's doing $3 million or more a year, We do have, for the next 30 days, we're going to offer our $25,000 valuation process for free. We're going to take care of that for you. So if you are a company that's doing 3 million or more and you want to have a solid valuation to start your data box with, to get it in your head where you're at. People, again, there's so many people that lie to you and tell you your business is worth more money to pump you up so that you'll hire them or start the process of your sale. Trust me, sitting down across from businesses that have been misvalued is very frustrating for somebody like me who has a checkbook and can buy your business, and you come in and you say $10 million when we know damn good and well it's worth $4 million. Okay, save yourself from that. That'll also give you an idea of, on your valuation, whether your choice of consultant or business broker is full of shit or not. It's a great indicator. So reach out to us. We have a great process. Normally it's 25 grand for the next 30 days. We're going to, anybody that has, so if you know somebody that has a business of 3 million, you have a business that's 3 million, reach out to us. We'll get you that hardcore valuation. If you're smaller than that, go get the assessment before August 1st. Because that'll also help you in your business. I'm Jason Cisneros. I want to say thank you so much for joining us. We've got people watching on all kinds of different channels over on Facebook, on Twitter, and YouTube, and all of the places. Twitter has been amazing. We've been getting upwards of 50,000, 60,000 people that are watching the show over there. We're very, very honored to have that kind of traffic, that kind of replay. It means that what we're doing is we're adding value, and that's all I ever want to do. If you have suggestions for the show, if you have suggestions for topics, we are focused. We teach to fall in love with the outcome of your target audience. I fall in love with your outcomes. The show then is informed by it, and we want to help you. Okay, so I love you very much from all of us, all 30 of us over at Built to Exit, all of our strategists, all of our team, all of our vendors, everybody that we work with. On behalf of all of them, thank you for your time. Thank you for your trust. Thank you for sharing the show. That is the only reason why we're growing, because we're not advertising. It's because of you. So thank you for sharing it, and welcome to all of our new people. We hope to see you in real live conversations. You can also go to jasoncisneros.com, see where I'm going to be speaking live. There's a bunch of them that are starting to crop up. We have 5 appearances. We'll be on Chicago, Fox. We'll be on Fox News. We've got a lot of stuff that's happening right now, as well as some articles in Forbes and et cetera, et cetera. So things are going great, and we're making an impact, and I think that our message is starting to resonate. Love you all very much. We'll see you over on Twitter if you want to come and join us, and if not, we'll see you next Saturday, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, just like always, on your favorite place that you pick us up. Talk to you soon. Thank you very much. Peace.